gonna tell you like this, bro. I don't blame a young guy for not knowing the history because the history of Baltimore hip hop, a lot of times it's not promoted correctly. Like some of the songs that was hits back then, all of them don't even get played. Like you never hear like Home of the Realest, like say for instance, Home of the Realest was #1 for 12 weeks in 2005.
Uh-huh.
Yet you'll hear Summer in Miami or Ignorant Shit or any other thing that has the same sample get played.
Mm-hmm.
But you never hear that record get played again.
Yeah, I think the DJs started becoming nowadays like more in tune. You know what I'm saying with the artists and stuff like that. I think back, the further you went back, I think the DJs was kind of like controlled more by radio or something. You get what I'm saying? I think now
Yeah.
I think you will probably still hear Scooter and them 10 years later. You know what I'm saying? Certain stuff that was hits, 10 years from now, I think you probably hear that blending in certain stuff and all that.
Yeah, I think you'll still hear them because the internet has created a platform where you can't lie as much no more.
Uh-huh.
There was a time with politics, like if you was controlling the narrative, you could say whatever you wanted to say.
Uh-huh.
So radio could do what it wanted to do. Whoever was considered the main DJs could do whatever they want to do, and whoever was supposed to be whoever they were supposed to be
Uh-huh.
could do whatever they wanted to do. But now, if for somebody go viral, you can't hide that. They just hide. It don't matter what nobody say. The whole world see that. And I think a lot of the artists that was killing in the streets that don't get the love historically and the credit
Mm-hmm.
due to what they did would have been viral during this time.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, most
So
definitely.
it would have been a whole different, you wouldn't have been able to hide it as much. And even with people trying to hide it, you still knew the names, even if you didn't get to hear, even if it was a fight against the artist for us to be heard a lot of times.
All right, since you just said that a fight against the artist to be heard, this and this. I produced a song for you. And I gotta get it out my archives. I wish I could have listened. It's called
Okay.
Banned from Radio. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Banned from radio in my hometown. You
Right.
know? So what's that all about? Was you really banned from radio here?
Yeah. Yes. I was really banned from radio from like, I think I was like banned for like 3 years. Like maybe it was either from 2005 to 2008. No, it was right after 2005. It was maybe like 2006 to like 2009, something like that.
Okay.
And Victor Starr was the program director
Uh-huh.
back. And back then, around it, like I had just come off of the song "The Home of the Realest,"
Uh-huh.
and I was really pushing to get the next song played. I had the video to joint with Freeway,
Okay.
and I was in there, and it was a little, not an incident, but it was a little conversation that kind of went left. And when the conversation went left, it was like it kind of went the way uh, he wanted it to go anyway. You
And
know what I'm
who
saying?
wanted the Victor Star? Wanted to
Yeah,
go?
like at the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like at that time, I'm trying to word this correctly. So it
Spit that
don't.
shit out, Molly. Spit it out. Ain't no word to
All
correctly spit it out,
right,
man.
all
We
right, all
ain't
right, all right. So I'm
political.
gonna keep
This
it
the
a
Watts
thousand.
report. We authentic. We spit it out. What the
Yeah, yeah. All
what
right. So
happened, man? What went down, man? How the fuck they ban you from radio when you putting on for the
all
town? I
right.
want to know what's going
So,
on.
so at the time, right, slots was either like one or two at a time, but it was real political of how things would go. Around that was around the time Boss had that deal, and he was getting heavy radio play. You know what I
Okay,
mean? It was a heavy push behind him.
okay.
And Mully, man, depending on who you was behind or who you was fucking with the most,
Mm-hmm.
may not have made the most sense to your business. That's where I'm gonna word this. I'm trying to word this. You know how I'm trying to word the thing right. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I'm saying?
hear you. But
Not say too. I'm not trying to say too much, but I might not have been on the business side of Victor Starr.
yeah,
Of Victor,
it made more sense the boss man crew or
yeah,
clique or
situation.
their
Yeah, with
situation was more smarter
made
for
more.
Vic.
Yeah, that might have made more sense. You know what I'm saying, for what he felt.
Uh-huh.
And I remember a person on my team calling in and letting me hear the call, and basically him saying, "Yo, we not playing Mully up here." And I
Damn.
remember a DJ. I'm not gonna say the DJ's name, telling me there was a list on the wall where my name was on it on a do not play list.
Damn.
So what I did was I took that energy and I took it to the streets. I took it to the flea market. I took it to the car shows. I took it to the malls. Like around that time, a lot of people didn't realize I was banned, even though I was, because I was moving so heavy in the streets
Yeah.
that it was like, damn, and my presence was there like a nigga that was on the radio.
Yeah, because really, to be honest, with music, especially hip hop music, the streets and the clubs is what runs the music for real. Radio follow behind that for real. You get what I'm saying? The streets and the clubs is what really dictate what need to be played on the radio. So
Right.
I think it was probably not cool that you got banned, but it made you go harder in them other areas even harder. The car shows, what I'm
Yeah,
saying, the street stuff.
yeah, because I always felt like the I always felt like if we was like other cities, you'd have had an artist like me, Boss, Scar, and you could have co-promoted all of us together versus feeling like you just kind of had to get behind one or maybe two.
Yeah, that's some bullshit right there. But
So,
other cities be having multiple radio stations also too. Not
but
trying to
not
take
even,
the radio side or whatever, but you're right though. It's almost like we only could choose one. Which one is going to be? Go at each
I
other's necks then. If it means
yeah, what I always was fighting for was the idea that we could be like what I was seeing in other cities because I was traveling.
right.
So I knew what it was like in Atlanta. I knew what it was like in Houston. I knew what it was like in these other cities and states. And I was like, man, if we adopt this, like the reason that you had to respect the local artists in these other places is because the politics was set up that if you don't fuck with the local artists, they made you fuck with the local artist that was hot.
I think Houston definitely like that.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is that when you come to Atlanta and you can't just make an Atlanta artist pay to get on your show and disrespect them like that and don't break bread with them and so-called make him pay his dues and
Mm-hmm.
and do all this stuff that a lot of artists that had the money to do it had to do.
Yeah.
I remember getting into uh getting into it with somebody about them trying to make me pay, and we had to come to a mutual understanding of just all right, I don't pay them for this show, they don't pay me, but
Mm-hmm.
I was getting paid at that time.
Yeah.
And just the audacity of somebody wanting to bring in billings of other artists, pay them, treat them great, me be a hometown hero, and knowing I'm better than the artist you're booking, talent wise, and hold a lot of leverage of bringing people out to the venue as far as my name, and almost being treated like I wasn't who I was just because of the way politics was set up. So I felt like I was always fighting to get an even playing field for the artist so that the next artist wouldn't have to go through that shit.